It's time to say don't take or give anymore. That's why we're singing. Thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Thank you for Keene City bureaucrats. Thanks, but no Bearcats.
Regarding a communication from Councilor Clark requesting a reconsideration of the acceptance of a Homeland Security grant for the Bearcat armored vehicle. On a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee recommends accepting the communication from Councilor Clark as informational. Signed, Mitchell H. Greenwald.
As we consider this next item, obviously there's a lot of interest in this next item. I would ask that all councilors remember that we're elected to act in the best interest of the citizens of Keene. Our jurisdiction is local. I would ask that you please restrict your remarks to the local issues that are germane and relevant to this discussion. Anything else will be ruled out of order.
Last December, Keene was offered a Homeland Security grant to fund the purchase of a Bearcat vehicle. The vote at the time was 13-1 in favor. In January, a letter was received from Councilor Clark requesting a review and potentially a reconsideration of the issue by the new council, which is allowed by our rules of order. The Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee held a public meeting in which there was verbal input, written input, and all this has been recorded into the record. The committee considered the information. Again, it has been recorded. And the decision made by the committee at the time was to accept it as informational, but it did not recommend any further action.
I move to amend the committee report so as to rescind the prior action taken by the City Council on December 15, 2011, and to reject the Homeland Security grant for the Lenco Bearcat vehicle. I wanted to bring up a statement that the Lenco representative had made to the national press about this issue. And what he said was that this grant was the opportunity for Lenco to tap into a $34 billion domestic violence market, which in my mind really meant only one thing, that it was a poster child for all of that waste and fraud that we're talking about, and all the politicians in the world are running around saying that they're going to do something about. You know, I know some of you here are going to vote for this because, you know, you're afraid about explaining your vote to some grieving widow. There aren't going to be any grieving widows because this vehicle isn't going to save the life of one police officer. It's not about public safety. It's not about safety. You know, this vehicle is not going to save even one life. It's not about that. It's not about opposing your police department. How do you feel about it? Is this the right thing to do, or is it not the right thing to do?
We received a lot of phone calls about the Bearcat, probably about 80. And of that, 10% are for it. It isn't, I just don't think we have that level of crime. This isn't LA, it's not New York, it's not Miami. We don't have gang wars and riots where we need batons and tear gas.
Fellow councilors, I ask you to think about this. Yes, we are Little Keene, New Hampshire, but we are not exempt from catastrophe. If this Bearcat saved one life, it's worth it.
We need to protect our friends and neighbors that have accepted the responsibility of working for the City of Keene as police officers. We need to provide them with the best possible equipment, and therefore I absolutely support the acquisition of the Bearcat.
For example, Douglas County, Georgia, will purchase their money with
Council, just a second. At the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee meeting to speak, and we didn't interrupt you. We sat quietly and we listened courteously to everything you had to say. If you're not prepared to give us the same degree of courtesy, I'm going to ask that you be removed. Now, I would ask no more outbursts.
The biggest reason that I'm voting for it, because it's not just going to be a police vehicle. There are other things in emergency operations that we can use it for, and I suspect that Chief Lambero, the Operations Center, will coordinate that.
I definitely want to support the police, and I definitely want the police to continue to be there with us I think that's been their strength, and that's one of the reasons we have such a wonderful community, is because of the visibility and the personality of the police department.
And I think coming from Ward 1, we have lots of contact with the police. If they feel that we can benefit from this Bearcat, then I'm going to believe it.
If you vote yes, you are voting in favor of the amendment and against the acquisition of the Bearcat. If you vote no, you are voting against the amendment and in favor of the acquisition of the Bearcat. Are you ready for a vote? All those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed? To some degree, perhaps the newer councilors were listening more closely to the, to the calls that they got, and I think it's important that councilors recognize we don't govern by referendum. We have to use our own judgment, and we don't stick our finger in the wind to see which way the wind is blowing when we make our decisions.
Well, the sun will rise tomorrow, and we'll deal with other issues.
To accept Councilor Clark's communication informational report.